What's up, traders? Technically going 4 for 5 today, but one of those was basically break even. I think we lost 20 cents. Let's get to it. All right, traders, as always, don't forget to hit that like button. It's free for you. Help support the channel, grow the channel, YouTube algorithm, blah, 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 blah. As always, watching these on 2x speed. Let's get to it. First trade is KOPN. You can see we have a couple lines drawn. This was previous resistance from yesterday's after hours. And this was right off the hourly. So kind of forced this trade a little bit here on KOPN. Really wasn't much of an extension. The move was okay. It wasn't anything great. Was really just kind of eager to, get a trade in at the bell. And it's just been slow. So we are looking to add a little bit more than our starter here if it wanted to shoot up towards 650, because that's where we would have ideally wanted this to begin with. But we're going to fast forward because, as you can see, this does not happen. It actually ends up coming down, and you'll see our order at 617. You'll see, watch what it does here. Comes right down to 617, no fill, bounces up. And when we go later and check it, it actually went to 617.06. So that's how close it was. So we weren't actually on the bid, but we were fairly close. It printed literally 0.06 above 617. So whatever, we end up taking this off because I believe it does try to come. It didn't. Yeah, it didn't even. It tried to come down to 20, didn't, and we end up just taking it off. So that was our trade on KOPN. Then we had the start of two trades. Right here is COTY. So this was a little bit of FOMO too, because this was a pretty good move, right? You can see previous resistance where it made the initial move through 9 and then came back down through, and now it came back up through that area and shot back up. And usually when that happens, I look for that next key area to be the focal point, which would be 950. However, I decided that I felt like it was struggling here. You can see it start to jiggle, and that's where we got in. So let's go back and watch this. So it's coming up. It's up through 40. It tries to go a little bit higher, 43, 44, 47, and then it starts to get rejected here, right there. So you see it go to 40. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to shoot back down through 40, and we're going to probably come down and retest this 910 area. However, I was very wrong. It does still jiggle here. You can see it's still jiggling, but this is a bigger company too. So that was part of why it was probably taking a little bit. It was having a harder time getting that push down. So as you can see, it makes the move up through that $0.50. I'm looking to get an ad. I want it closer to 970, which I think eventually we do get pretty close. Let's see, fast forwarding. So we got the 963, but ultimately it tried to come back down and go through 950, which actually isn't a good thing. But this is all pretty much a continuous move. We'll go back, we'll watch it. So coming up here to 70, starts to stall, starts to come down, we hit it. That's our ad. We didn't want to miss an ad here this time. However, as you can see, it starts to really jiggle back and forth here. You can really see the seller stepping in there. We're coming back down to 50. We get half out, pretty much at break even. Our average is 953. And now we're back down to starting position with a better average at 953. Still looking for it to come back down, hopefully come down and test. I remember saying in the moment, I was hoping to split this last bit up and try to get the rest down towards that 910 area, because that was the original goal. However, we can see that it starts to hold up, and I was a little frustrated with myself because when I realized that it was going back through 950, I could have took another half off and just made it a little bit easier on ourselves, but I didn't, and it popped right back up. And now I'm looking for an ad up closer to 10. At the same time, we pull up D-Dog, which was an alert from Brian in ISW. And I usually don't see these because I have my TraderSync up showing the year to date, and my scanners for the higher priced ones are behind that. And probably not a good idea, but I don't feel as comfortable trading these anyway. So that's why, unless somebody else feels that they're good enough to trade and they alert it in the room, I don't really bother looking at them because I feel like it's kind of a waste of my time. And so when Brian said he got into this, I pulled it up and I really like the move. Like if this was a $13.75 stock, $13.80, $13.85, $13.90 kind of thing, I would be all over this, right? This is a really nice move up through that $0.50 previous resistance, which is the high of yesterday. Beautiful extension. I'd be looking to get short on this. So that was what I did, and we end up kind of messing that up, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But as you can see, COTY is going back up. It starts to jiggle, and of course, right as it started to jiggle, I was actually kind of wrong. I was hoping it would go right to 10, but right as I hit it, it actually tried to go up through 10, which I was ready to add to again, which if you look at what we do here, that's kind of my thought process. We add there, We were waiting for the action, and then it starts to jiggle. I notice it's not going right to 10. And this is kind of something I've been picking up on lately. If something gets to a very key area, $0.50 or a whole dollar, and it starts to stop that 4 to 5 cents short of that area, that means there's a lot of people front running much bigger orders probably at that key level. So that's usually going to act as at least a temporary top, and it's going to pull back before it tries to probably come back up through. So you'll see me, I actually add a second time. So there's actually 2 arrows inside this one area, both for 50 shares each. And that actually brought our average up to 977. So you're going to see us put 100 shares out, I think at 971. Yep, 971. And as you can see, I'm watching that 995 area because I think my plan at this point would have been to cut some of that if it went through 10. If this didn't work, I'm looking for this to hold. If it goes straight through at this point, I wasn't going to do anything. Like, I'm just going to scale in as normal. But if this were to kind of teeter-totter around here and not get any kind of a real pullback and then go through 10, I'm probably going to cut those 100 shares off, especially because they're so close. But as you can see, it comes down 971. We get some filled there. It starts to come down and test 950. And we end up taking half of that as well. So now we're down to 25 out of the 150, just looking to see if we can get that move down through 950 as we had originally wanted this entire time. You can see we just put the order out there at 944. So now over to D-Dog. You can see we're actually up on this one, but it's not much. I was actually looking for the around 50% of the move. It never gives it to us, which is kind of unfortunate. It actually, as COTY is doing its thing, that's when D-Dog actually spiked up against us, which was right now. You can see now we're down quite a bit on D-Dog because it went to high of day. I was watching this because I wanted to see what it did at 950, and I do end up taking this off once I realize it doesn't want to go through. As you can see, it doesn't even get the 950. It starts to bounce. I take it off at 54. It does eventually work, but I think it bounces first. But as you can see, we go right back over to D-Dog, and this popped all the way back up to high of day. So I'm a little frustrated because I'm like, all right, well, if this is a fake out breakout, we'll look to just get out break even, which you can see I put the order up basically at break even. And as it does start to be a fake out breakout, this thing actually ended up going, I think it's at like 130, below 130 at the moment. But anyways, as you can see, it comes back down and we end up taking this off. We don't get filled there. We end up taking it off for, I think it's a 2-cent loss. It was like it finally comes down right at our break even, which is 37 right there. And I drag it up, we get filled to 39. So not that big of a deal. It ended up being a break even trade. On to the next trade, which was Ride, which was absolutely my favorite trade of the day. And I was telling people as this trade happened, if you want to know how I trade, come watch this trade. This is exactly what we look for. Granted, it's not a perfect trade because I use smaller shares because it was a bigger company, as well as look at the shares already going through. It was very crowded. And things that tend to get crowded usually will have a little bit more continuation to them, a little bit more trend following. But it doesn't deny the fact that when you do get a FOMO pop, you are most likely going to get that pullback, right? So I want you to watch this. You see the key area. So we got previous resistance, 720, key area, 750, and we're going to look for what it does through that key area, okay? I mean, that's what I say over and over and over again. That's why it can kind of get a little bit boring and repetitive. But we are not interested in this trade until it goes through 750, and ideally we want this up closer to 770 because I look for those extensions through 750, or those key areas, the 50s and the whole dollars. And I want it to get away from that because the idea is that it's going to retest those areas. So here we go with the 50 break. You see it just going. No real sign of a jiggle yet. Up, up, still going 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 up. And finally right there, you saw it start to drop back down. I know we're in 2x speed. If you want to go back and watch this in real time, as always, the live stream's down there. Everything's timestamped. So you can see it. And then we're just going to front run the $0.50. If we pause real quick, you see 720. See the top here around 780. About half of that is right around 750. So why not front run where you know it's most likely going to bounce? And that's exactly what I'm doing here. So as you can see, it's a little bit strong. I feel like on something that wasn't such a big company or so crowded, this thing would have flushed right back down. But however, it is struggling a little bit because people are, buying into the FOMO, right? You got a lot of people that are like, I don't want to miss this. All right, we're going to buy that first dip and look for it to go higher. But ultimately comes down, gives us the fill, and couldn't be happier with the trade. You can see it starts to bounce there. I do believe it actually bounces up towards the highs pretty quickly. So it used that $0.50 as support. Yep, as you can see. So pretty happy with this trade. I couldn't have played it any better. And then I was just trying to explain it a little bit, that I was going to draw out the lines and just show you like where 50% was, exactly what I was looking for. And I mean, literally textbook trade. I couldn't have came up with a better textbook trade to show you, minus the fact that it was a little crowded. Our last trade on the day, BYSI. This one was a little bit shakier. Like you can see the extension's not that great. Previous resistance 29.50. Volumes there, which is good. Also, this one was a little bit spready. So you're going to see me hit short the ask once I feel that jiggle, which is right there. Also, 30.50, right? Another key area. Always using those half dollars and whole dollars. So when I saw it was above, up near 70, I tried to, when I actually shorted it, it said 74. You can see, I don't know. Let's go back and take a look. When I hit the button, I thought it said 70. Yeah, so when I hit it, it was 74, but it changed that quick, and we actually got 60. So a little bit frustrating there, but not a big deal. We were still north of that area. We were looking for under 30 here. Anyways, and it does end up coming down and tagging us right there at 29.90. So pretty happy with that trade as well. Just, again, extension, nice FOMO pop, feeling the jiggle, getting short, and then coming down and looking for those key areas as a retest. Sometimes 50% is good. When it's not that great of an extension, usually just look for those key previous resistance areas. And that's essentially what I do day in and day out. Just so happens we had more trades than usual. I probably forced D-Dog a bit, as well as KOPN, but not going to complain at all because we got 5 trades today. I was actually pretty stoked about that. We didn't quite get the goal, but we got pretty close. And that's all I got for you. Tomorrow's Friday. Hopefully everybody's staying safe today. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as always. And find me on Discord, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.